Starting to the top right, we have the StarTale Protoss player. Someone who has worked a lot in the past, so they will find out if all this effort is going to bear fruit. It is
StarTale, Avenge.
Avenge, great Protoss player. Still 18 years old, so pretty young. Going up against the 22-year-old Terran player at the bottom left of the map for AxiomAcer, the starting player.
Ryung.
Seems to be packed with a lot of juice today, ready to go.
Ryung definitely under a lot of pressure in my opinion here. He said that he wants to have that crown once again. Today he has to prove it. For him it would be great to get an all-kill or at least a couple of wins under his belt. But StarTale of course has other plans, and a player like Avenge is a great starting player for them. Even though I actually think that in the future we will not see Avenge as the starting player anymore. Usually you put a player out there that is good, but not really one of your main names, not one of the guys that you expect to take wins that you want to throw out later on to snipe people. So Avenge is a great starting player, but I feel that the coach is going to give that spot in the future to someone else. Maybe not in the second part, but I feel in the next season that's definitely going to be the case.
You know, maybe Pet could be the guy that they send out first instead with his recent performance in the qualifiers. Now here comes Avenge's probe. He sees the CC first, should harass here, and in fact he does right away. Wants to just delay it as much as he can, possibly even kill an SV. He probably won't get that, but it's going to force probably 3 SCVs off the line, 3rd SV coming down now, and that forced a lot of lost mine time. He's got all the scout information in the world.
And for everyone who has seen this map for the first time, we're always joking a little bit about the lemons and that a player should actually maybe even proxy the lemons. The reason behind this is that on this map in particular, there are a couple of huge lemons on the map that you can actually take down, and then you can harvest them and you get a 500 mineral. So if you have map control, that gives you a huge edge over your opponent. We've only seen it once this season so far. The map has been played, I think, 3 times. And a couple of players actually made nice ceremonies out of it. MMA just biting into a lemon after his victory. But that's something to keep in mind here in case you haven't seen the map yet. Yeah,
that's what I was referring to when I said earlier about this team and lemons, because their team itself has not actually harvested the lemons. That did not happen. But this probe will finally be chased away. He sees the double barracks follow up, so he knows it's not going to be a quick Reaper following or any sort of fast factory tech. So he can be very comfortable with that, and may even try to be greedy as a result. We'll see what he's got planned.
Also, in case you are currently watching the VODs and you missed the opening of the team match today, go to gomtv.net to the forum and check out the poll that we have for the GSTL All-Stars match that is going to take place on the 10th of October. You can vote for the players that are going to participate there. So definitely make sure that you go to gomtv.net, and then in the forum you will find additional information about the event. Yeah,
that's going to be crazy awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm so excited actually just thinking about it, but I'm going to go vote. No one's going to know what I voted for, but I'm going to go vote.
It's going to be definitely a lot of fun. And, well, right now, at this point, I really want to see what exactly Ryung is able to do in this first game. I mean, we have him with a really, we have him with the opening that is really oriented to give him a head start in the economy and just show its strength a little bit later down the road. He already has the bunker here building at the front, and from Avenge we don't see too much aggression. In the past against Terran, he was really also a player who liked to be very, very aggressive, who went into double gateway openings, for example, or decided to go into mortal attacks. Right now we don't see that just yet, even though we have the robotics on the way that gives him the option. But with the Forge now coming up, it doesn't really look like he's going to go for an aggressive timing against his opponent.
You're exactly right. With the Forge there, it doesn't seem very likely at all. Stalker over here trying to catch any hidden commanders, also try to pick off any scouts. Nicely done. One thing to note is Ryung went for a fast third barracks rather than a fast third command center. Even delayed his bunker because he saw the Nexus timing. He knew the mothership core was going to be late because he knew that this Nexus was a response to the command center, so that timing means he can skip the bunker. Now he has a ton more Marines. He's making 3 Marines at a time. He's getting stem out here. And he has aggressive timing, and look at this! He gets in the main base. A huge oversight here.
Ninja SCV in the main base. That's James Bond SCV right there. Sneaks by and sees everything. And apparently, Legend should turn the sounds of his windows off.
I heard that.
Legend, we heard that. We heard what you did there.
Somewhere somebody is making a thread about this. Should he really have the alert sounds on? I don't know. I mean, I think the production could be better.
I think Legend is currently a little bit embarrassed. We still love you, Legend. Don't worry.
definitely do. Everybody does. We have actually a second observer, so he's really going into the vision here, and he's going to go ahead and add a Twilight Council so we can get further upgrades. So I expect we're going to see no Colossi in this game. He's got to be careful with his Stalkers, though. Wow, going to lose one, maybe even two. No concussive shells, so the second one will be lucky enough to escape.
This is actually a move that we have seen in the past a couple of times. Just recently, when we had the matches on Tuesday, a few of the Terran players really decided to go into an early concussive shell to catch these two Stalkers at the front. The concussive shell be forced in because they just build one Marauder, move out, try to slow down the Stalker, and then take it out. So mixing things a little bit up to work against the two Stalkers that are usually positioned right in front of the Terran player's main base to get scouting information, and also have like a soft contain against Terran Marines that move out.
Yep. And take back what I said about the Colossi because, well,
he's rushing the lemons. I love it. Ryung with a demonstration right there. This is what the map is all about.
I did not expect to see this, but you know, it's a good choice. It's the first map, the starting map. He's had time to repair. Good scan here reveals that there is a robotic support base, so he will be making at the very least one Colossus, and he starts range even, so he's really committing here, even though he made the Twilight Council that early.
Yeah. I really, really like this move from Ryung here. At this point in the game, he knows that Avenge is also just sitting tight, and he can use that. Here we go, the sliced lemon is there. That's 500 minerals for you right away. And I don't actually see Avenge doing anything against it, so already off to a good start, the Terran player for Team AxiomAcer here. And keep in mind that Ryung was actually the player who all-killed StarTale last season, so another reason why he's a really good choice to come out as a starting player today.
Big stim going on here on this Warp Prism, no damage done, because he had the factory in position. He expected this. Their Lemon will be returned. He already preemptively added barracks not only for the Lemon, but his third CC. So his economy is going to explode with this Lemon. He's going to have so much Marauder production, continuing his upgrades as well.
Really refreshing mineral income there, 3,600 for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And that's already a pretty good boost, especially now in the early game. And I feel if we see this map a lot more in the season, a lot of players will actually start to guard those lemons, maybe even rush them a little bit faster. But just observing how players are starting to utilize this feature is something that is actually pretty cool. I like this a lot on this map.
Yeah, CC is getting their vitamin C here. And those dropships thought about it, but they decided to fly away.
The three bases, you know, we have the third base now coming up for Avenge, but Ryung is already on 3 CCs.
Yeah.
And that is pretty cool for him. So in terms of the economy, he's definitely ahead of his opponent. If you just look at the overall supply, he's also taking the lead in the army supply. His scouting is excellent. He sees the Warp Prism once again. And so far, Ryung is doing a great job in this game. And Avenge must be feeling the pressure already.
Oh, he absolutely is. And he's down in supply. His tech is not... You know, it's not like he's really ahead in tech. He's going to be at 1-1 here in just a few seconds, whereas Ryung is going to be at the same. The one thing that's missing here for Ryung is the armory. He does not have that, so his upgrades are going to fall pretty behind here. But he just has a great army to work with those extra minerals, and he's going to go ahead and take this army out here in the main base. There's no reinforcements. He needs to run away.
Oh, he blinks away, but those Stalkers are fair game now. They're going into a gap here. The Warp in Zealots already being attacked. He's taking down what he can, and at the same time we have the force field now in the middle of the map. But the Terran player is splitting his army, trying to circumvent them, but he just does not have the power to really push through and get rid of those two Colossi.
Yeah, now he's losing his medevacs here, and Ryung, you know, having a massive lead, and I don't want to say throwing it away, but definitely overextending himself quite a bit there.
I don't really think that he saw this fight in the middle of the map coming. He wanted to go in, but he didn't really expect this army to be there, so he was focused on the attack in the main base, and when it happened, he shifted his entire attention to the middle of the map and kind of lost track of the main base a little bit, I feel.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation for what happened here, and you know, right now Avenge is realizing the lemons were taken. And that's got to be a little bit stressful. It's only 500 mils for that, but he probably wants to check the other side too.
Exactly. He knows that if Ryung actually takes the other lemon too, he could as well go for a fruit salad here. So Avenge is probably really adamant of just denying him the second one. But looking at this game, I mean, Ryung definitely in a position where it's just so difficult to deal with both of these things. If you send out the main bulk of your army to aim for the third base, for example, where you try to distract your opponent in the main base, you just don't expect this to happen. And the macro that we have here involving is really difficult to pull off. Ryung is still trying to make those few drops happen. He scans ahead and he sees immediately, but with the pylons that we have all over the map for Avenge, the drops are just not hidden anymore. He knows immediately what's going on.
Can't believe he let that pylon finish. 2 pylons get killed. The probe spots the drop. That's all he needs. He moves the Stalkers in, but at least Ryung gets some damage done here. But like you said, there's pylons everywhere, observers everywhere. He even sends the probe just to be safe. And he's very aware of what's going on here. Still has that Warp Prism he could use a little bit later.
Both players are actually doing a really good job. We have the Factory flying to the left side of the map to spot for the Warp Prisms. The only thing that we don't really see is something at the bottom right of the map. That's where he could go in at some point, but that's also something that Avenge doesn't really know. For him, from his perspective, 2 of his Warp Prisms have already been shut down, so he's still looking for an opening there.
Exactly. One thing I really like to point out about Ryung's defense, speaking of the bottom race, he's got a tight wall, so no Zealots are going to run by. He's got a bunker and a tight wall set up down there, so only a Warp Prism could harass that. No other Zealots are going to be able to get in there.
And Ryung is taking back the map control right now. He also takes on a few of the observers. He's trying to limit the vision that Avenge has. He's making sure that he kills every single Pylon in range, that he makes sure that there is nothing that Avenge can use. But he did not see that second Warp Prism, and with this Warp Prism that we have now in this position, he could always just warp in a couple of Zealots for a run by. There is a bunker, there is a wall, but currently there are no units.
Yeah, no units inside, so if he runs those Zealots, they will eventually break through.
And we have our Fruit Zealot coming up to the left side of the map. The Lemon is being attacked, I feel. No.
Not yet, but he's approaching it.
Yeah, he was standing there.
He wants to go for the chase here. He's actually pushed this army out of position. He could go for the Lemon now. Doesn't have a probe nearby, it doesn't look like. But he has a very scary army here. That's 5 Colossi with range. The Viking count is, though, on the other hand, quite high at 12.
+2/+2 is nearly done for Avenge, and with those upgrades he will be able to do a lot in the next fight. The second attack upgrade and armor upgrade just finished, and he immediately goes into attack upgrade number 3. So for Ryung, in regards to the upgrades, it's definitely good position. The Archon is completely out of position here, but realizes it in time and moves back. No Archon kill just there. It's not Christmas yet.
No. By the way, there's no Storm. I think this may be... in fact, I'm certain it's something he's forgotten because he has 600 gas. He wants to get that Storm research, but he's going for the attack instead here. Wants to maybe use it for Archons, but he does not have Storm at all. No Templar available.
Great warp in the main base, forcing all of the SCVs off the mineral line, and once again the Zealots are going to town here in the middle of the map. Avenge is trying to go into position. Ryung is a little bit in trouble here. He's trying to split his army, send units into the main base to deal with the threat, while still having a great position to defend his natural and third base, but the Protoss player is starting to push it.
It's really hard for him to advance this position. There's Ghosts at the front, ready to do some damage. Finally cleans up the Zealots, and he goes for the recall here, not leaving a single unit behind. That was a nicely done recall. And the damage is still being done in the main base. He's going to get that engineering bay, in fact.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job here. He's making sure that the attack upgrade is not going to finish. At the second engineering bay, we have the armor upgrade. The third one started, but that is definitely a problem that he has right now. And I like this recall, that he did not try to just somehow fight his way through, lose too much.
Yeah.
He was looking at the position, was like, well, I really don't like my spot here. Let's recall and just take another time. I still have my Warp Prism, my opponent's main base. I'm doing damage here. I can recall now and fight another day.
You know, one thing that's concerning for Avenge right now, though, is he still only has the 1 forge. He's not using a second forge, he hasn't built one, and he's going to have +3 armor, but he only has +1 attack. So even though the attack upgrade was shut down there, the upgrades are still going to be better for Ryung for quite some time, who's re-adding his engineering bay right now, getting a planetary up, and he still maintains map control. He wants to shut down this Nexus, but against this Protoss army, he's going to have the perfect angle.
And Avenge, of course, adding additional gateways here. He wants to Protoss his opponent. He wants to warp in as soon as the fight starts. He has the bank to do so, especially in gas. Trying to find another angle to approach his Terran army. The Nexus to the top left had to be cancelled, but Avenge is now cutting off the path of retreat for Ryung and is moving in to take down that fort.
Yep, and Ryung actually has to come back here. He can't really hope for the base trade, not with the Mothership core there with the recall. So he kills an entire expansion here. He's going to catch more reinforcements, catching some Vikings. Nice. This is terrible for Ryung, and as soon as he corners this army, it's just going to be a recall.
Really nice move here, but the Mothership core has to be careful. He needs to recall in time before all of those Vikings go close, and that's exactly what he does. Leaves a few Zealots behind, and they go straight, not only for the Ghost Academy, where the personal cloaking is cancelled, but he's also going for the mineral line at the natural and third.
He's also killing the destructible rocks.
Well,
he killed the destructible rocks at the bottom at the ramp. He just barely killed them.
What a boss.
What a target there.
What a boss.
But regardless, you know, you're right. He killed so many harvesters.
Look at those
was a great trade. Yeah.
Who needs Zealots when you have Archons?
He has 11 Archons right now. 11.
Oh my god.
There are only 46 SCVs left, so the Terran army size is massive here. 143 versus 131.
He should start researching the plus 2 attack upgrade though, something that he does not do. He's on 3 armor and 1 attack, whereas the Terran player is on his way to 3-3. Ryung and Avenge still dancing around each other. The better bank currently for Ryung, but here we go, and all of those Vikings need to be careful that they don't run into the Archons. The EMP is good, but is it good enough? The Terran player on his way back, the time warp immediately being dropped. Still one of the Colossi is alive. In army supply, we have a massive lead for the Terran, and Avenge, he might not have enough to win here.
It doesn't look like it, but you know, there's a few more Zealots coming through here. The upgrade's definitely not working out in his favor. It looks like Ryung's army is going to hold here. Colossus coming from the side, on the other hand. The Medevac's almost out of energy.
He's blinking back once again. There's still too many Marauders, so the few Stalkers really can't do a whole lot. He has the production, but he doesn't have the resources anymore. Avenge now in a position where he would like to warp in a couple of additional Zealots to have a bit of a meat shield here, but he just can't pull that off. 40 supply lead currently in the game for the Terran player, and Ryung in army supply is 50 supply ahead of his opponent.
He really needs to defend this base to the top left. That's his lifeline right now. Nice targets here on the Colossus, but it is saved. The Vikings very low on hit points here. Even this Medevac may go down. Stalkers blink on the chase here. And this is just too many Marauders. He has to back away for now. This base to the top left is so important, though. He has to decide whether he wants to try to save it or if he's going to maybe sacrifice his army here.
Still no Storm. We still don't have the Storm upgrade. A little bit surprising here that this late in the game, with even the 4th base now being available to the Protoss player, we do not see that Storm upgrade. That was definitely missing in the last fight. The Archons alone just don't cut it. They try to get close enough, but all those EMPs are working against them, and the Marauder target firing as well. Once again, the Terran player moving in from different angles, trying to just cut those units off, sniping Archon after Archon, and currently we have Avenge dropping below 100 supply.
Yeah, he's dropping below 100 supply here. He just doesn't have the bank anymore. The Mules have really been paying off for Ryung during all of this. Nexus will fall, and it almost looks like he's conscientiously getting only Archons instead of using his Templar. But I've never really seen that before, and if he's going to do that, he probably wants to get some shield upgrades, or at least the +2 attack that you talked about earlier. He still hasn't started it yet, and now he can't afford it.
He's falling so far behind now. 4 bases against 3, only 2 of those are mining. A Terran player, Ryung, with 110 army supply, battling his way to victory. 38 army supply for his opponent. The Mena Mules calling down, and this is game.